Hi, my name is John Myers. I'm the Managing Research Director of Business Intelligence and Analytics at Enterprise Management Associates. When organizations start talking about big data and data lakes, oftentimes they get stuck in the trap of, am I only talking about Hadoop as being the way that we implement things of this nature? The simple answer is yes, you can implement data lakes on Hadoop, but EMA, through end user research over the last 5 years, has shown that modern big data environments include components that aren't just limited to the Hadoop ecosystem. You're going to find elements of the enterprise data warehouse, operational platforms, now streaming platforms, all coming together to form the basis of a data lake. At EMA, we call this concept the hybrid data ecosystem, or the HDE. And the hybrid data ecosystem basically talks about how you bring these multiple platforms together or multiple data sets together into one place, one location, where you can operate it on different workloads, whether that be an operational workload, an analytical workload, an exploratory workload, or the one that we see oftentimes nowadays as an operational analytics workload. But when you look at this, and you start talking about big data on Hadoop or a big data lake, you don't necessarily need to think of the one concept of being Hadoop. You can see multiple platforms all in one location. You know, one of the questions I get asked a lot about big data, data lakes, and the hybrid data ecosystem is, are organizations really implementing this? We've seen in our big data research over the last 5 years, we've seen a jump of almost 30% year over year from our 2015 survey to our most recent survey, that organizations really are implementing data lakes and these types of environments together. They're bringing together the components of the hybrid data ecosystem. We find that almost 60% of our respondents tell us that they're implementing between 2 and 5 different components of the aspects of the hybrid data ecosystem into this. So we're seeing both growth, we're seeing the breadth of this. So we really are seeing the hybrid data ecosystem and big data lakes being implemented out in organizations. When organizations put together a big data environment, such as the hybrid data ecosystem or whatever they may be calling their data lake environment, some people go, do I have to have a large, one big massive implementation that goes along with that, or can I do it in incremental steps? And most certainly, organizations can do this. We're seeing organizations, they'll start with possibly, again, with that Hadoop environment to be part of their data lake because they have data sets that they don't know what to do with, or they don't have the capacity to put it within their, say, enterprise data warehouse environment or some other aspect of their groups. So they'll put it together in a Hadoop infrastructure. The next step oftentimes we'll see is when organizations start to bring curated information about customers, products, regions, revenues, things of that nature, stuff that is oftentimes held within their enterprise data warehouse. Next, we'll start to see organizations truly understand, can we use this for, is it just for exploration? Is it just about us bringing components together? Or can we start to use it in terms of our mission critical analytical environments, or even moving it into our mission critical operational environments? But all these things build over time to create a large and mature data lake environment, such as a hybrid data ecosystem. When organizations implement a hybrid data ecosystem or a data lake, a lot of times we'll see them trying to implement projects that impact top-line revenue, bottom-line costs, or improve the overall margins of a particular organization. One great way to do this is understanding better about your customers, and sometimes you call this knowing your customer. Oftentimes organizations, when they first implement a data lake, will start down a path where they're looking at market basket analysis or cross-sell, upsell types of capabilities. Say, how can we get more share of wallet from our particular customers? As a next step from there, they start to integrate a lot of that information from social media, whether that be Twitter, Facebook, blog posts, etc. Instagram's a great place these days, and understand how the brands, the products are being viewed both positively and negatively. And if you build up your data lake lake or your hybrid data ecosystem to the point where you really get a lot of good core information in there, you can really start to impact the customer experience that an organization has. So to say, how do we understand best about how our customers are interacting with our products? What do they best like about our products? Are they having a good experience, bad, et cetera? And how do we take that information and really bring it in to have a much tighter customer relationship based on the information that resides within our hybrid data ecosystem or our data lake? When organizations implement data lakes or HDEs as part of their organization, the research that we've done with end users have found that in those initial stages, those first steps, oftentimes they have a higher rate of failure with their individual projects. That isn't because they don't know what they're doing. Oftentimes it's because they don't have enough experience with the data within their data lake. And sometimes they'll have those initial starts and stops that goes along with that. In these cases, you can implement best practices that other organizations have had, but a lot of times it's putting your fingers into the data inside your data lake, figuring out what's the best use of that information, and then moving it forward. As you go to that next stage up, you get a much greater sense of both how you should be doing things, what is the scope that you want to be doing with your particular projects, and when you truly have a mature environment, you are getting a whole lot more value out of the data that you're putting into it, both in terms of individual projects, but the success or failure of those projects as well. We found that organizations who have been implementing data lakes for quite some time have an almost 30% increase in the success rate of the projects that they're having, as opposed to people who are just starting out in those environments. Thank you for watching this informational video on big data, data lakes, and the hybrid data ecosystem. My name is John Myers, the Managing Research Director here at EMA. For more information on big data, data lakes, and the EMA hybrid data ecosystem, go to enterprisemanagement.com.